Good day, dear children. My name is Shulpan Amanjolovna. Today we will start Module 2, Helping and Heroes. The theme of our lesson is historical figures. The learning objectives are to communicate, asking questions and answering them, use information in new situations, and review the lives of given historical figures. Please, children, open your student's book on page 17. How do you think? What we are going to study at the lesson? Yes, you are quite right. We are going to talk and learn about lives of historical people. Before looking at pictures of these people, let's get acquainted with new words and pronounce them. Painter, queen, emperor, warrior, hero, scientist, nurse, president. Please repeat after me all together. Painter, queen, emperor, warrior, hero, scientist, nurse, president. So I'll give you some meaning of these new words. Painter is an artist who paints pictures. Queen is the female ruler of an independent state. Emperor, a sovereign ruler of an empire. Warrior, a brave or experienced soldier or fighter. Hero is a person who is admired for their courage, achievements, or noble qualities. Scientist is a person who studies or has expert knowledge of one or more of the natural or physical sciences. Nurse is a person trained to care for the sick people, especially in a hospital. President is the elected head of a republican state. Now, children, looking at the pictures on page 17, you please try to guess and try to match who was an Italian painter, who was an Egyptian queen, a Mongolian emperor, Scottish warrior, Kazakh hero, Polish scientist, British nurse, and American president. Yes, you are quite right. Leonardo Da Vinci was an Italian painter. Marie Curie was a Polish scientist. Cleopatra was an Egyptian queen. Florence Nightingale was a British nurse. Genghis Khan was a Mongolian emperor. Baurjan Momuşalı was a Kazakh hero. Abraham Lincoln was an American president. William Wallace was a Scottish warrior. Now I explain to you how we should read years. We read years before 2000 by splitting them into two numbers. For example, 1456, 1875. Now you read, please. BC is an abbreviation for before Christ used in the Christian calendar when referring to a year before Jesus Christ was born. Now let's do exercise 2, page 17, student's book. I'll ask you questions and then answer. When was Marie Curie born? In 1867. When did she die? In 1934. When was Cleopatra born? In 69 BC. When did she die? In 30 BC. When was Florence Nightingale born? In 1820. When did she die? In 1910. When was Genghis Khan born? In 1162. When did he die? In 1227. When was Baujan Momuşalı born? In 1910. When did he die? In 1982. When was Abraham Lincoln born? In 1809. When did he die? In 1865. When was William Wallace born? In 1270. When did he die? In 1305. I will give you some short information about all these historical people. Who were they? Leonardo da Vinci was an Italian painter, sculptor, and architect. He painted the Mona Lisa. Marie Curie was a Polish scientist. She discovered radium and won the Nobel Prize. Cleopatra was an Egyptian queen. She was a beautiful and powerful woman. There are many books and films about her. Florence Nightingale was a British nurse and writer who pioneered modern nursing during the Crimean War. Many people came to know her as the Lady with the Lamp. Chinggis Khan was a Mongolian emperor. He built the second largest empire in the history of the world. Baujan Momuşalı was a Kazakh hero. He was a military officer and author. Abraham Lincoln was the 16th American president. He helped end the Civil War and slavery. William Wallace was a Scottish warrior. He fought against the English to help free Scotland. I've chosen two short video biographies about Genghis Khan and Marie Curie. Please watch them.
In the year 1162, between modern-day Mongolia and Siberia, a ruthless leader and great conqueror was born. The King of Kings, a brutal barbarian and the founder of the largest connected land empire the world has ever seen. His name? Genghis Khan. Genghis, together with his sons and grandsons, went to war on an immense scale, and in only 25 years, the Mongol army conquered more territory than the Romans had done in 400. By the time of his death in 1227, the Mongol Empire stretched from the Pacific Ocean to the Caspian Sea. Encompassing around 10 million square miles, the empire was vast, measuring the same size as the African continent, and larger than the United States, Canada, Mexico, Central America, and the Caribbean islands combined, making Genghis Khan one of the most successful military commanders the world has ever known. Born in 1162 to the name Temujin, he was the son of a local chieftain and was said to have been born clutching a blood clot, a sign from heaven that he would become a great warrior. Temujin experienced grief and suffering from an early age, with his father being poisoned by a rival tribe when he was only 9 years old. After his father's death, the tribe abandoned Temujin and his family, as Mongol tribes would only follow a strong and respected leader, forcing them to survive in the harsh conditions of the steppes by themselves. It was during this time that Temujin killed his half-brother, who had been accused of hoarding food while others starved. This allowed Temujin to gain control over the tribe, and soon he was leading it alongside his lifelong friend and blood brother, Jamuka. 10 years later, Temujin understood that his small tribe in the open grasslands of the steppes was weak and exposed, so he sought to bolster his numbers by marrying into a local tribe. He soon found Borte, his first wife. Not only did Temujin gain a loving companion, but more importantly, the fighting force that came with her. Temujin was not fated to have a peaceful life, as it would not be long until adversity returned to him. The powerful Merkit tribe came and raided his camp, killing many and stealing Borte away. Temujin and Jamuka managed to escape and made their way to the local Khaan, who had fought aside Temujin's father, begging for help. The Khaan accepted their plea, and soon Temujin was at the head of a massive fighting force. Shortly after, he took swift and decisive action against those who wronged him. Heading to the Merkit camp in the mountains of northern Mongolia, he slaughtered the offending tribe, taking his wife back in the process. These cruel conditions Temujin faced in his earlier years helped shape him into the fierce warlord he was to become, and taught him not only how to deal with his enemies, but also the value of forging friendships and alliances. As time progressed, the tribe became divided. As the fundamental differences between the two leaders became apparent, Temujin valued talent wherever it came from, whereas Jamuka thought only those who had a noble birth should be respected. This led to a rift in the tribe and an eventual split, with Jamuka now leading a clan of his own. It would be 2 years until the pair would meet again, in which Jamuka's men slaughtered Temujin's unprepared and outnumbered tribe. The generals Jamuka captured also faced a gruesome death, being boiled alive. When Temujin found out what had happened, he was furious, and it said from that day on he would seek revenge and pledge never to be defeated again. In 1204, the two finally fought each other in a pitched battle, which would be crucial for the survival of the Mongol people and would determine Temujin's position as commander. Tribesmen were trained in both archery and horsemanship, and when the battle began, they used this to deadly effect. Bows were made from wood and animal bone and had a shooting range of 500 yards. Genghis Khan started an empire that had a wide and long-lasting impact on civilization in both the East and the West, the repercussions of which can still be felt today.
Marie Curie was a pioneer in the field of radiation research and the first woman to win the Nobel Prize in 2 different categories.
Marie Curie was a towering scientific intellect in a Victorian era when opportunities for women, and opportunities for women academically especially, were extremely few and far between.
Marie Curie was born Maria Sklodowska in Warsaw, Poland on November 7, 1867, to a family of prominent educators.
She had to study underground because she wasn't able to be accepted into the men-only University of Warsaw. She then had to leave the country to get her PhD. She was the first woman to receive a PhD degree from a French university.
She came to Paris for her education and met Pierre Curie.
Marie shared lab space with fellow scientist Pierre Curie. They were married in 1895 and had 2 daughters, Irene and Eve. Marie trained Irene to be her assistant, and in 1935, Irene won a Nobel Prize as well.
Marie Curie and her husband began studying the radiation and the properties of uranium.
Marie and Pierre's main discoveries were the ability to isolate the radioactive elements, which came from the uranium-based ore called pitchblende. They discovered 2 new radioactive elements, radium and polonium, which is named for Marie's country of birth, Poland.
In 1903, Marie and Pierre were awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics, along with Professor Henri Becquerel. Marie was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize.
Curie and her husband were absolutely single-minded in the pursuit of their research. In fact, when they were awarded the Nobel Prize, they refused to go and accept the prize personally because it would interfere with their research.
Pierre Curie died from a horse carriage accident in 1906. Despite this loss, Marie continued their work and was offered her husband's teaching position, becoming the first female professor at the Sorbonne.
Curie's research was key in understanding the effects of radioactivity and in quantifying those effects on living cells. She really established the field of radiation therapy for cancer.
Marie Curie made history again when she was awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1911. She was the first woman to win 2 Nobel Prizes.
It was through Curie's research that medical use of X-rays became really a possibility.
During the First World War, Marie Curie herself carried many portable X-ray pieces of equipment to the front lines to help the wounded.
Curie founded the Radium Institute to continue her research. Due to her prolonged exposure to radiation, she contracted leukemia and died in 1934.
Marie Curie is such a role model, especially for a woman in science. The impact of her work, the scientific integrity, and the drive that she had is truly an inspiration to all of us today.
So children, your home task for the next lesson is to choose 2 historical people and find more information about them. And exercise 1, page 12 from workbook. The lesson is over. Goodbye.